How's it going, y'all? I'm about to show you how to make your own low health meta build with your railway rifle, and you can do this kind of damage. By using this build, you can also have an extra 85 carry weight. And while doing quests, you can actually take the easy options. As you have more stats compared to normal build, you can cheese through all these dialogues with maximum perception, luck, strength, charisma, you name it. So why is the low health build so strong and overpowered? You have to look at the armor that we're using for the low health build, which is Unyielding set. It'll give you +3 to all special stats for each armor. So if you're equipping 5 pieces of armor, you'll actually gain +15 to all your special stats. That is the main reason you got the increased carry weight, as well as using your stats to take the easy options during dialogue. So I'm gonna show you how to make your own low health build as detailed as possible to help you guys out. So be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel. So firstly, you want to visit player vendors, especially during weekends, and you want to look for the Unyielding armor. You want to collect 5 of this armor. It doesn't matter what it is, leather, light or heavy armor, as long as you guys got 5 pieces of this armor to complete the set, you guys will be good to go. Also, if you guys need help finding these items, you guys can join the Discord link in the description below where people are helping each other out. Alright, next we're looking for a weapon. There are a few types of weapon that you guys want to keep your eyes on. Firstly, we have the anti-armor. These weapons are really good against bosses or targets with high armor. You guys want to pay attention to the secondary and third stats as well, as that will determine the price of the weapon. But for starters, you guys just want to pick the primary stat, as it'll be good enough. The next weapon type that you guys need to look for are the bloodied weapons. While equipping a bloodied weapon, the lower your health is, the more damage your weapon can do, up to 95% of weapon damage, which is pretty insane to be honest. Although it's not that good against bosses or target with armor, this is still a solid choice. So while browsing the vendor, you just don't want to look at the bloodied, you want to scroll down and look at the fixer, because the stats for the fixer is pretty hidden and you won't say the bloodied fixer or anti-armor fixer. You actually have to click on the fixer to see the stats. For example, here I have a really great fixer. The primary stat, we have bloodied with increased damage as you have low health. The secondary stat is pretty decent. We have 25% weapon speed, which means you shoot faster. The third stat is not that really useful as we're using VATS. We're not gonna aim all the time. So this game is pretty random. For starters, just focus on your primary stat, which is the bloodied, anti-armor. And also the next stats that we're gonna be focusing will be the quad, which will give you 4 times ammo capacity. Depending on your secondary stat, let's say you have quad and explosive, that would be really awesome. And also next we have 2 shot, which will give you double projectile per shot. This will be my least favorite choice. However, it'll depend on your weapon as well. If you have a huge burst damage with double shot, it'll be pretty decent as well. So for this build guide, I'm using the Bloodied Recoil Compensated Railway Rifle. It's just a 2-star rifle, but the stats are insane. We have Bloodied as well as Explosive. So before I'm going to show you guys all the perks for this build, I'm going to show you how much damage it can do to the Behemoth, the Scorched Beast, as well as the Super Mutants. Alright, now let's talk about perks. Here are the perk cards that I'm using, which I'll be explaining to you why I chose them. Firstly, you don't need any legendary perks for this, which means low-level players can still do the same amount of damage. You guys can get the extra carry weight and also will be able to choose all stats during quest dialogues. So for strength, I only have 2 points in blocker. This perk is really good against melee enemies. I only have 2 points because I feel confident to kite them, but if you guys are struggling with melee enemies, I would suggest to get 3 out of 3. Alternatively, you guys can choose Barbarian as well, as it'll give you more damage resist if you have more strength. You can also choose Barbarian and Blocker at the same time. The reason I don't choose them is that because my inventory is really full right now, so I'm forced to choose the other 2 strength cards. Alright, next we have the perception. You want to choose the bread and butter of this spec, which will be the 3 commando cards. These cards will increase 60% of your automatic rifle's damage. So if you're using the fixer and railway rifle with the automatic receiver, as you can see here when customizing my railway rifle, I'm using the automatic piston receiver, which will allow you to use automatic or full auto while using this rifle. As you can see, if you choose other option, it'll be single fire. It may take time to unlock this receiver. You just have to scrap as many railway rifle as possible until you unlock this receiver, or you can just simply purchase it from any player vendor, which will be way easier. Once again, if you guys need help, you can always join the Discord link in the description below. Next, we have the tank killer, which is super crucial as well, as your rifle will ignore 36% of armor, as well as you have 9% chance of staggering the enemy. For the concentrated fire, you just need 1 point for this, as you need to switch targets during VATS mode. For example, you can switch target to the head, or you can target the arms while in VATS mode. Alright, for endurance, usually I pick 3 out of 3 fireproof, which will give me 45% fire resistance, and also explosion. And since you have that big red bar in your health bar, you want to be choosing radical, as it'll give you more strength the more radiation that you have. Next, in charisma, you will need tenderizer, which is the bread and butter for any damage build in the game. Basically, every time you attack an enemy, it'll put a 10-second debuff, which will allow you to do 10% more damage to that enemy. And since you're running a low health build, you'll need Nerd Rage, as it will give you 40% damage resist, 20% damage, and 15% AP regen. You'll get all this if you're below 20% health. Next, I always like to use Gunsmith, as my guns will break 50% slower. However, since I'm using a Bloodied explosive railway rifle, if I want to maximize the damage, I want to be using the Demolition Expert that will give you 60% more explosive damage. As for agility, we have the COVID operative as well as sneak. Those will help you stay in stealth as well as improve your initial sneak attack. The perk that you want to be focusing will be Gun Fu. I just have 2 points for this. If you kill an enemy with that, it will jump to another target with 10% increased damage. Then once that target is dead, it will switch to another target with 30% increased damage. Next, we have 5 out of 5 Adrenaline, which will allow you to gain 10% extra damage after killing an enemy. This perk is really good just to keep the momentum up. Dodgy will be good as well since you're at low health. However, it may drain your AP, which prevents you from doing VATS, so it will depend on your playstyle. Bloody Mess is necessary as you need that 15% extra damage. Serendipity and Ricochet are both defensive perks. Since you're having such low health in this build, you may need a lot of defensive perks. Next, we need better criticals. VATS will now do 100% damage, and most of our attacks will be using VATS, and you won't be normally aiming down sight and shooting targets. And finally, we have Critical Savvy, which allows our critical hits to just consume 55% of the critical meter. This means more critical hits that are good for us. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video useful, be sure to hit the subscribe for more future Fallout 76 videos. This is Joe, and I'll see you next time.